Thank you for joining the MDS Portal webinar today. I am Casey Friedberg. I'm the CRO here at MDS, and I'm joined by Adam Friedberg, our CEO, Steve Cass, our Senior Software Engineer, the brains behind this portal. We're going to start with an overview of the portal landscape and how MDS fits in. We'll talk about the flexibility with billing and the impact to adoption rates. From there, we'll get into live demo, highlighting the new and upcoming features across the occupant, the manager, as well as the outside stakeholder experience.
I'm really looking forward to taking you through the new features in the portal that we've been working on. MDS has been working with building or helping other people build portals for about 16 years now. We've learned a ton over the years, and we know that the very first thing that a portal has to be made of is a rock solid payment solution. So we have ACH and credit card payments, both recurring and scheduled. We know that resident ease of use is absolutely critical because the whole point is to reduce tenant phone calls coming into the office, to make your accounts receivable team more productive and efficient. If it's not easy to use for the resident, we won't be able to accomplish those things. So this should be a light lift. You send out a link to a resident to log in. It's intuitive and easy to use. The bottom line is that MDS is your system of record for the vast majority of what you do. We're able to provide that one-stop shopping experience because we have access to all the data that you want to expose, all of the different hooks that you want to collect information from residents and put it back into your system. It's just a natural fit to do it through your core system so that you're not dealing with multiple logins, multiple vendors, and everything is a really tight integration. We don't have two systems talking to each other. It's one system. SPIRE is essentially the resident portal. When I show you the ability to make report packages available to your investors, the thinking usually would be to upload those to the portal. That's not true. They already live on the portal. So we just need to expose them to the investors. A really tight integration with one single system means less potential points of failure and immediate access to any data that you want to work with. Different systems talking to each other just disappear with a native solution like the one we're going to show you. Billing flexibility. You can have your residents pay for this. You can pay for it in other buildings. You can have some combination of those things. We could put together a marketing incentive program if you want your residents to pay for it and be able to even mark it up. We are completely flexible, and all of this has been automated because we know how important this is. It almost always comes up when we're having a sales conversation. How are we going to structure this billing? The answer is we can always find a way to make it work. Manually processing payments is by far the most expensive way to do things. So if there's a cost involved with the portal, whether that's being passed on to the resident or absorbed by the PMC, it will not be as much as the cost of handling a payment with a check coming into your office or sending it out to a third-party lockbox. It's by far the most efficient way to handle this type of a thing. Let's get to the live portal demonstration. There's really three things that are new that I want to show. The ability for residents to make work order requests, which will flow directly back into your core database, SPIRE. I want to show you the board and investor dashboard, which currently gives you the ability to download report packages, which can be very easily exposed directly through the main SPIRE interface. When your PMCs are logging in to do some maintenance tasks within the portal, they're not logging out of where they usually are working and then logging in somewhere else. These features just become available to them through the core SPIRE interface, which is really nice. So less logins, more efficient. And then the ability to link multiple units together. If you have a sponsor that owns many units in a single building or investors associated with units across multiple buildings, you can link those together to make it very easy for one of your investors, sponsors, or board members to log in and access multiple units at the same time without having to log out and log in, so they can make those payments and make work order requests for anything they're associated with, which is controlled by the property manager. I'm going to show you what it would look like from a property manager's view, and then what that related feature would look like from a resident's view. I'm going to get started by logging in as a resident, not as a PMC. So the resident has logged in. Ease of use is very important to us. What do you want to do here? You want to make a one-time payment or schedule a recurring payment? We support both of those. We also support multiple payment types. We can set up debit cards. We can set up credit cards, ACH bank accounts. Once they have been set up, you can schedule payments to be made on a recurring basis. You can do things like full balance due, set a custom amount, or set a percentage of the balance due. If there are roommates in a particular unit, you have the ability to grant all those different roommates access to the portal to pay their portion. So that's just a really simple example. Maybe you have 2 residents, split the total cost of the rent every month. So each one of them might set up to pay 50% of the balance due on the first of each month. I would like to talk about some of the new functionality available to you in addition to the ability to collect ACH credit card and debit card payments. We're logged in as the resident right now. We're going to jump over to the work order request functionality, which is new. I'm going to first show some of the setup and control you have over the way the system can work from the property manager's point of view. I'm logging in to the main SPIRE site because my resident portal is turned on. I have different abilities under system administration. This is where you manage most of what you need. So we're going to start off talking about work order requests, giving your occupants the ability to either create work orders in your system or work order requests for you to approve. I'm going to click on Resident Portal Management. This gives me a variety of different options. I'm going to click on work orders. As the property management company, you have a couple of decisions to make. The first decision is, do you want work order requests to come in as requests for somebody on your end to review and approve, at which point they turn into work orders? Or if all the required information exists on a work order request, do you want it to skip that step and flow right into becoming a work order? This is the decision you're making on the database here. And then the other thing you'll see when we log in as a resident is that for those of you that use the work order system, you'll be familiar with the drop-down box to select the type of work being done. But we also know that some of you have 50 different codes and never want to expose 49 of them to any of your residents because it's overwhelming. This will display all of the different work order codes you have set up in your database, and then you're able to toggle on and off which of these should be available for your resident to select from. It can work for anybody, even if you have a ton of work order codes. What I'd like to do now is jump over to the residence view. I'm going to make a work order request and show you how that resident is able to take a look at a history of requests they've made. This is the same view we were looking at, the person that was just making payments. Now they decide they would also like to request a repair. Every label in the system is thought out because we want to make this very easy and obvious for a resident to use. So we're going to click on request a repair, which now gives me the ability to select from the different maintenance codes I configured while I was logged in as a property manager. You can describe the problem here. You can upload a picture of the problem. Once you've filled in this information, you click create request, get a confirmation, and it will show up under the My Maintenance Requests section of the portal. The idea behind this is to keep the resident informed of what's happening with their different work orders. And you can see an environment where we have a variety of different things, some completed items, an open item, and 2 items still in the request phase, which flow in to your main database to then be reviewed and approved should you decide to use the ability to submit requests instead of it going straight into your work order workflow. We're going to bounce back to the property manager's view through your core SPIRE login. I'm going to the work order section of the system and I click on requests. And this is the area that you will see where requests will show up. From here, you can review them, approve them, you can decline them. And as soon as something happens here, whether it be completed or approved, this status will be automatically updated. This is the maintenance requests view, but anything that is on the work order, a property manager can view. This is deeply integrated. When somebody makes a work order request, it doesn't wait and then sync up later on. Work order request will immediately appear in the work order request queue. When a work order is created, should you not have requests on, it would flow directly into your standard work order workflow. It is the system. It's just working really clean. Let's talk about the significant process in a property management office distributing monthly report packages to board members or investors. The current state of affairs in that is that you're generating a report package out of our system and then either printing it out, or if it's small enough, doesn't have any images of invoices in it, you might be emailing them to your investors, your board members, whoever the outside stakeholders might be. Emails can fail because the attachments get too big to handle by any standard email inbox. So the solution to that is, instead of emailing them out, give these packages to these buildings, and the people that have permission, your outside investors and your board members, will now be able to download them from the portal. I'm going to show you how we've automated that. So I'm going to click over to the property manager's point of view and go over to the regular reporting center. I'm going to go to the completed report packages. Whether you have the portal turned on or not, this is where all of your report packages will always live. Would you like to expose many of these to the resident portal? You can do that quickly and easily by checking off what you'd like to upload. So these are things that I want to expose, and just keep in mind that the system knows which company every one of these packages is for. It knows the names of the different packages. It knows how to route them up to the portal without me having to specify. Send it, and it's going to send it up to the portal in an automated way. So that's what I'm going to do now. They've been distributed to all my different outside stakeholders. This is a key distinction between what a third-party system might offer you in terms of report package distribution and what we're doing. It's right from your main system. So now I'm either an outside investor or maybe a board member that lives in one of your buildings. We have the ability to grant access to the investor side of the portal to either type of residence. The key difference is that a board member is almost definitely going to live in the co-op and be a resident. Let's hop over to what that might look like. I am looking at this from a property manager's point of view, and I'm going to hop over to one of my residents to make sure they have access to the portal. If I click on view contacts, I can see that Adam Grant has access to the resident portal. And now Adam Grant also has access to the investor portal section. While I'm here, this is really more for the ability to link multiple units together, which is the final thing that I'm going to show you. You also have the ability to manage, maybe Adam Grant is related to all of these other units in the building. And when Adam Grant logs in, I want Adam Grant to be able to jump over to all of these units without having to log off and log back in. This is how those links get created. We handle outside parties like an investor or maybe an accountant. We now allow you to add contacts onto a unit within a building, which acts as the placeholder for those people being granted logins to the portal, even though they do not live in a specific unit. They don't live in any unit, right? You don't have to create a dummy building. You don't have to create dummy units within a building, nothing like that. You're going to use the gen unit, which we just thought made a lot of sense because you're already used to thinking of the gen unit as being representative things for the overall building. And that's essentially what this is. So that's where you would be able to add your investors in to grant them access. So to recap here, we're logged in as Adam Grant. Adam Grant will be able to jump across all of these different units, and Adam Grant will also have access to the investor portal side of things. Just going to go to the overall landing page. You can see this is Adam Grant. I'm going to switch. So this switch unit toggle only appears because there are multiple units associated with Adam Grant. So I'm going to click on switch unit, and you're going to see now that I can jump over even across buildings as long as they're associated. First things first, because we're talking about distribution of report packages, I'm going to take a look at the investor side of things. And you can see, because I'm logged in as an investor, this investor is tracked on the gen unit. So they don't have the ability to make payments. They don't have the ability to make work order requests. They simply have the ability to download the reports that we were uploading as the property manager. So these things became instantly available as soon as I clicked post. I get an email that says my packages are available. I log in, I click here, and I'm downloading my report packages. It doesn't matter how big it gets. You'll always be able to easily post it, download it, and distribute it. Your investors or your board members will be able to easily download it. Super streamlined process. As the system of record with all of the data that you would ever want to be exposed, we want to hear your ideas. What else do you want to show investors? Do we want to create clickable dashboards with an accounts receivable widget, an accounts payable widget, a bank reconciliation widget that people can then drill down into? How much do we want to expose? It's easy to do at this point. That's the question. This is the core of an investor portal. Let's switch units one more time, because I think that sponsor units is probably a very common type of use case where you're linking multiple units together. So Because I just jumped over to a sponsor unit, which is an actual unit in an actual building, I have the ability to not only make payments, but I can also make repair requests. Viewing this unit as if I had logged in natively as this particular sponsor. But because this sponsor is linked to all these different units, that gives me the ability to jump around. I showed you how we're able to distribute report packages. An easy thing to do is to give property managers the ability to upload building-wide documents, which will be available to all residents in a building. What would be an example of that? Maybe the bylaws in a co-op. You'll also be able to upload individual documents that pertain to a specific resident. Announcements can be posted like that, building-wide items. So piggybacking off of that functionality, the next item we'll be working on is the ability to automatically upload maintenance bills or rent bills. We've analyzed call logs of some of our customers that have been nice enough to share those things with us. We're really trying to drill into the things that your people have to handle through direct human to human interaction. We're not saying we don't want human interaction. I think that's really important. But what we want the humans dealing with are the things that the computers can't deal with, right? So things like, hey, can you send me a copy of your rent bill? Or what's my balance due? Those are really common questions that come in. Being able to download that statement directly from the portal should cut down on a lot of that stuff. The other thing that we're going to work on is the ability for residents to update their contact information. This isn't necessarily something that we would expose to everybody because I know that our customer base can have reasonable people disagreeing on this. They don't want the residents to be able to change anything. And then there's another camp that says, absolutely, we want the most current information on file, and it's the resident's responsibility to provide us that information. We're going to do this in a controlled way that keeps people up to date in terms of when a resident does make a change on the workflow to approve those changes. The new feature that we've added to the roadmap, which I'm particularly excited about, and has a lot of different use cases, is the ability to collect documents or documentation from your residents through the portal, but not in a hard-coded way. What we want to give you the ability to do is to create categories of required documents that are also related to a period. So maybe you need an income affidavit for 2025. You create that requirement for a specific building, and then when residents are logging in, they're prompted to upload and provide that information, which could then sync back to your main SPIRE database so that you are completely eliminating any manual data entry that would have to be performed. I'm using income affidavits as an example. We have some Mitchell-Lama customers that have to do that every single year. I think this could be a real game changer on that front. We already have the ability to track people's renters insurance policies when they expire, but it would require your staff to collect that information and then manually upload it into the system and fill in any blanks. We want to give the residents the ability to do that and to even purchase renters insurance if they don't already have it, which will then grab all of that policy information and sync it back to your system. You could then use the tools that already exist to report on who has expired insurance information. When things do expire, they're going to start to reprompt the resident to upload the new policy information. We look at those things as a soft feature. I'm using those as examples that we might want to collect from residents, and we allow you to be creative to collect anything that you want in an automated way. We don't want multiple systems talking to each other, and we don't want you to have to log into multiple systems to accomplish your tasks for the day. And then the same thing on the resident side of things. We don't want a resident to have to log in to grab their reports, to make work order requests, to make payments. The gold standard is to be able to do all that in one stop, which is what we're going for. The same is true for you to not have to deal with multiple vendors so that you can deal with our support team you're already used to dealing with. If you have a question about how to post a report to the package center, our support team can help you with that. If you have a question about why the payment hasn't cleared yet, our support team can help you with all of that. The vast majority of the data that you work with and collect is all aggregated within MDS. So that puts it at our fingertips, and we can expose it in really easy, efficient ways, depending on how you want to work with these things and how you want to expose these things to residents. This sky is the limit for us to create super feature-rich product without a third party involved, without interoperability concerns. This is all one system.